Good afternoon, everyone. This is Enrique Sanchez, and thank you for tuning in to Spanish United Radio. This afternoon, we have a very special guest. Would you be kind enough to introduce yourself to the audience, please?
Sure. My name is Mark Kligman.
Welcome. Thank you for being on the show.
My pleasure. Good to be here.
Yes, we had originally met over at Valley Beth Shalom about a month ago, I believe, when the synagogue was having an event having to do with the Israeli artists that were presenting different artwork and media to promote peace. We would like to know in Spanish United, how is the Israeli artists and those involved in music are able to use music to promote peace, especially when we are going through a time when there's different conflicts around the world.
So I'm a professor at UCLA in the departments of ethnomusicology and musicology, and I've been able to study Jewish music from the liturgical tradition historically and at present, and combine both the methods of cultural studies and historical studies in which to understand how music integrates with culture. So it's been on my mind to see what musical expressions would develop post the horrific events of October 7th of the massacre by Hamas.
Hmm.
And what I found was very interesting initially as troops were gathering in October and people they were, summoning up all the troops because of the coincidence with the marking 50 years since the Yom Kippur War. There were a lot of songs that came out of the Yom Kippur War. And when one teaches the history of Israeli music, you usually mark different wars as being turning points in Israeli culture where certain songs are associated with particular wars. And that's sort of been a narrative that has developed over time. So that was happening in the distributions of videos and in social media that the songs of that Yom Kippur War were developing. So now new songs were developing, beginning very quickly. And so in November, there were a number of songs that were very patriotic, really focused on Am Yisrael, the people of Israel, the nation of Israel, being united together, and just a real sense of solidarity. I think that no one really kind of knew, of course, what would happen with the hostages and how anything would really unfold. And as the hostage drama lengthened from weeks until months, as time went on, there were a number of um, music and music videos that were created that were really directed specifically towards um, commemorating the hostages.
Hmm.
And some of them were more intimate, some of them were much bigger, and that developed over time. And then there's sort of been this somewhat of a little maybe cottage industry of people remembering their loved ones and creating a video just to remember a young person who went to the Nova Festival that was killed, and they would play the person's favorite music. They would play uh, maybe a song that the person liked, a song the person recorded, just do different ways to really connect with people. And one of the things that I find with all the music that I've been looking at that are commemorating October 7th is that there's this real poignancy in which music is really connected to the grief of the moment and the pain, but also the hope that people have in Israel. And, that's what Israel's national anthem, Hatikva, is. It means the hope. And there's been sort of a long history of this, of course, in the Jewish tradition and in the Israeli culture, this aspect of songs that are leading towards hope. Um, I think helps uplift one's soul, one's being to connect with something that is positive and purposeful.
I really believe that it's very important, especially during this difficult time, that when discussing about issues relating to grief and reward, that we should always try to humanize both aspects of the coin. And what I liked about the presentation that you gave about Beth Shalom is that you presented everything through song and dance, but it was kept non-political. And I think it's very important because when people tend to intertwine politics with what's going on with war, sometimes people get riled up about it and they tend to demonize the other as being the perpetrator when it's only a small group of people that are doing the wicked acts. So I thought that was a very good presentation that you gave because for many people that are not aware of what's going on in Israel and people that are anti-Semitic, because that is an issue, it gave a neutral perspective of what's going on in Israel. At the same time, people have an opportunity to humanize what's going on with the issue of the hostages and all that. Like a little bit about what Spanish United does. We are a Hispanic rights organization. We've been around for about 4 years. And similar to what's going on with the Jewish people throughout the world, Hispanic people in the United States right now are under tremendous assault because of the issue of immigration and the issue of crime and stigma. So one of the things that we do is that we try to educate and humanize the Hispanic community because many Hispanics are blamed for many social issues in the country. So we try to help dispel those myths by doing workshops, by promoting education, and trying to get people to know what the Hispanic experience is about. So that way there could be better understanding and mutual engagement between Hispanics and non-Hispanics. So me being as a Hispanic Jewish person myself, I really felt that it was needed to have this conversation because I feel that we could promote peace and understanding, not only through music but also through speech and through dialogue.
Yeah, that's very well said and very, very important. I think that for many artists, they try and transcend politics and really talk about humanity and use their art to say something, use their art to be involved, to really elevate people. And what you're saying is just so true that there's a lot of misunderstandings and a lot of blame that's placed on different people. Where certainly music can be used and has been used for political purposes, but I think that I don't see that with most artists. I see most artists just trying to express an emotion, an ideal, to connect people, and do it in ways that art, in my case, I study music, is able to do that words alone can't do.
Exactly, and that's one of the things that I did enjoy about the presentation that you gave that day, that all of the artists, even though they were going through a very difficult time and situation, at least they were trying to express their emotions through song and through dance, and that was able to spread the message of peace because I think that's very important. And you actually brought up an interesting concept. Like I remember during my days in the university, there were two things in this world that everybody knows, and you don't really have to speak the same language, and even people that are opposites can agree on is music and mathematics because you don't need to speak the language to know music and know mathematics, and they're both universal concepts. So I think that was a very interesting and proactive thing that you were presenting that day, Belly Beth Shalom, promoting peace through music because music is universal, and that's how one is able to promote world peace is through music. Hello?
I, I
Hello?
that hello.
Yeah, yeah, I'm here.
I'm so sorry. that's what I believe that um, is the ultimate power of music, is to really, you know, transcend one to a place to pull yourself out of uh, the present moment, um, to think about something larger, and also something very deeply but purposeful and meaningful. And art has that ability.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I also was going to ask Professor, because I know that you're on a time strained. In UCLA, has there ever been like any courses where there's been like Hispanic artists that have, promoted music through your department, or have you had like, Hispanic artists that have, performed in UCLA?
Well, Hispanic, absolutely, but Hispanic Jewish, I'm not aware of, and that's certainly something that would be wonderful to explore. UCLA has the largest department of ethnomusicology in the United States, perhaps in the world, and we have 17 world music ensembles, and that includes a mariachi ensemble,
Mhm.
and there are um, different type of mariachi groups that are student led throughout UCLA, and both in the music department, outside the music department. There's folkloric dance programs that are happening, and again, most of these things are student activities that are student led. And what we really want to do is really help promote um, people's understanding of their culture and cultural heritage and pride. When I teach courses in Jewish music, and I'm sure some of the students who come want to learn about Jewish music, other students need to fulfill a requirement, but I try and universalize it by saying, that I have this unique opportunity to take from my culture and my tradition that I was born with, that I lived in, that I've studied, that can be brought into an academic context and shared alongside many other cultures and traditions. And the hope is through dialogue is that people just develop a deeper understanding of each other, and uh, and hopefully that leads to um, better insights, and as we think, trying to make the world a better place ultimately. In terms of Hispanic Jewish artists, that is actually not one of the specialties that UCLA has in Jewish studies. I've only been there for a few years. The Jewish Studies Center has been around for, I think, nearly 30 years. Maybe they have in the past. That would be interesting to explore, and it's certainly something that we should always have in mind to do.
Absolutely, because I feel that when there is more engagement and dialogue between not only Hispanics and non-Hispanics, but also between Hispanic Jews and non-Hispanic Jews, because I feel that that will create harmony and better understanding between both parties.
Indeed, that's always the hope, and let's hope that we can use our efforts in that direction.
Absolutely. Well, anyway, we come to the end of our time. I wanted to tell you, Professor, thank you so much for taking your time for being on the show, and for your listeners on your side of UCLA. Spanish United is on all social media platforms. We are on Spanish United, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter. And anyone that wants to make a donation, feel free to do so. Anything that anyone gives, the proceeds are used to help those in the Hispanic community, or anyone that needs assistance. And as soon as I am finished here, I will email you the link that you could share it with everyone on your end.
So good to be here. I wish you all the very best.
Thank you so much, Professor. Have yourself a wonderful day.
You too.
Bye bye.